Hey guys, what's up? My name is Rod. I'm your happy hippie, and we're in the man cave. We're in the garage. If you can hear that in the background, that's my little granddaughter crying. She's only 1 month old, so it happens. This is the Americana tag, started by Sam St. John, Americana Music. This is from Gavin Magazine. This is way back in 98, May of 1998. Back then, you had to explain to people what Americana was. Especially, I was a music director for KFAN 1079 The Fan, KFAN, Texas Rebel Radio, the Texas Hill Country. Also for WDVX 89.9 in Knoxville, Tennessee. So I was a music director at two separate Americana stations. And back then, the poor salespeople would have to go into places, say an auto parts store or any place they're trying to sell advertisement to for the radio station. And the guy behind the counter and the manager, the owner, would be like, well, what's Americana? Well, we're like one of the DJs or the program director, J.D. Rose, or the music director, Rod Abear, tell you. And you would have to explain, what the hell this thing called Americana was. And let me tell you who was on the charts back in 1998. Chris Knight with his debut album, The Mavericks. Mike Ireland and the Holler oh my God, that was a great album. Sam Bush, Howling at the Moon. Leon Russell with his latest album, back then it made it. Don Wazzer. So, we had to explain, hey, we're kind of like country, but not country. Definitely not rock and roll. And this is me. I had a write-up in Gavin Magazine. That's the handsome young Rod. And radio, it was Abear, because it was a lot easier to say than Herbert. Anyway, Americana music is very, very close to my heart because I did it for so long. So for these questions to be asked by Sam St. John, it was really, really cool. And like I said, back then it was a format you had to explain to people. Americana gets its roots directly from bluegrass and Texas swing. Now it's very inclusive. All kinds of different music is considered Americana. Back then, it was like very tight-knit. And some record labels who had country artist or a soft rock artist that was not making it on the country charts or the AAA charts, they would send it to the Americana stations and were like, why are you sending us this crap that can't get played at country stations because it sucks? We're not going to play it. We're Americana. Anyway, listen, the questions, that's true. We had a lot of that. Show your favorite Americana artist. I'd be lying if I said it wasn't Steve Earle, but there's so many others that I dig. Guys like Townes Van Zandt, I'm going to talk about later. And Jerry Jeff Walker. And Guy Clark. So it would be hard for me to just pick one. An album with a banjo on the cover. I had it all picked out and now I lost it. Here it is. John Hartford. Question 2 was that. Question 3, an album with great harmony. I don't know. I'd say Emmylou Harris, most likely. To me, Americana is always going to be a little bit of twang and heartbreak. And, that's how I hear Americana. Show an album by your favorite female Americana artist. Again, this is a tough one. It could be Kaylee Smith from Nashville, Tennessee. Gillian Welch, who won Americana Artist of the Year. about 20 some, God, probably 27 years ago. This was her debut album, I believe. Man, gosh, this woman can sing. Alrighty. Show your favorite acoustic cover song. I don't know what that would be. I'm going to pass on that one, guys, because there's so many cool cover songs. I'm just going to, it'd be hard for me to name one particular cover song. I mean, I could grab, let's see, where's she at? Where's my friend? I could grab this beautiful lady, Valerie June. This is an album of nothing but covers. So anything off of this album, anything from John Lennon to Marcy Gray, she does cover versions of, stripped down cover versions. Love me some Valerie June. All right, your favorite Americana album from 2023. It's in here somewhere, folks. Trust me. It is James McMurtry's last one he put out. Show an album with a heartbreaking ballad. Holy moly, that could be like so many different. But Townes Van Zandt is the king of flippin' heartbreak. Guy wrote some amazing music. Some of it was very depressing. Townes Van Zandt. I was lucky enough to get to see him in Green, Texas back in like 90, 91, I think. A few years ago, everyone in the VC was talking about him, and it almost became like a trend. I was like, damn, I actually remember listening to him 20 some years ago. But it was real cool seeing him get a lot of people talking about him a few years ago, man. Show a song about drinking from an Americana artist. What the hell did I do with it? What the hell did I do with it? Guys, I promise I got it. It's a song called Beer from Mark David Manders. It's all about drinking beer. Good friend of mine, Mark David Manders. He got really popular in the Americana scene. I'm going to show more of his music later. Back in the 90s. Alrighty. Show a song about drinking. I did that. Show an illustrated cover. Does that work? Alrighty. Show an acoustic album by a traditionally non-acoustic artist or band. I got a good answer for you, Sam. I'm going with Townes Van Zandt Tribute by Steve Earle. It's just called Townes. 2 CD set. One is just all acoustics and one is with his band. So you got one electric and one stripped down acoustic. A tribute to Townes Van Zandt by my man Steve Earle. Alrighty. An Americana supergroup. There's an album out with Guy Clark, Jerry Jeff, and Steve Earle. Unfortunately, I don't own that album. I wish I did, but I don't have it to show to you. But I do have the Martha tapes with Jack Ingram, who I've got to meet, Mariah Lambert, and John Randall. Americana supergroup. A lot of these Americana artists I was fortunate enough to meet, like Steve Earle, I've been able to meet a few times. Jerry Jeff Walker, I got to meet a couple times. James McMurtry, I interviewed him several times. So it's a really cool format. And like I said, I love doing this particular tag because of that. Show an artist you never got to see live. I never will get to see this guy. Justin Townes Earle, may you rest in peace. The son of Steve Earle. Never got to see him, and unfortunately we lost him some time back. Showing a guy, an artist, you would love to see that you haven't got to see yet, but it might still be possible. If these guys can pull their heads out of their asses and get back together, I would love to see this band right here. And now I can't find it. And I'm talking about Uncle Tupelo. I never got to see Uncle Tupelo. And man, if they could just work out their differences and put it together, put all their differences to the side just long enough to make a tour. I had that album laid out. I don't know what I did with it. I don't know what I did with my Uncle Tupelo. But that would be the answer to that question. I'd love to see Uncle Tupelo live. An artist you've seen the most would be Steve Earle. 10 times probably. Texas, Tennessee. I've seen him just so flipping many times. Been able to interview him. Very, very cool guy. Very, very left wing. Know what you're getting in for if you go see him live. He's famous for Copperhead Road. He did like 88. That's not who he is necessarily. I mean, it's a great song. And it's funny, when he goes on tour and they give away tickets to the local radio station to give away, they always give it to the rock station or the country station. And the people who win it know that song, and they show up there and they're not expecting this left-wing, very liberal folk singer that he became, Americana singer. Show the first Americana album you ever owned. I showed it already. It's when I was music director for KFAM. And they said, hey, this format we're going to call Americana, and they're blah, blah, blah. This is technically the first one I owned. Show a duet. Steve Earle and Emmylou Harris is all my Steve Earle CDs. They did on the album Our Colors On. They did a song together, which is amazing. Absolutely beautiful song. And the song was, I want to say Poison Lovers. It was a great, great duet between two legends. He also wants us to show 5 unknown, or, relatively unknown Americana artists. Now, I can definitely do that, man. If you want to know what Americana is, I got this gift from Murmur Than Hell. Murmur Than Hell, great channel. He sent me this as a gift. Find you a copy of Rounder Records. They were a major, major record label in the Americana format back in the day. Anyway, I'm going to show you some lesser-known Americana artists. Mark David Manders. Jimmy Dale Gilmore. Don Wazzer. I had the pleasure of bringing him on stage one night. Chris Waugh, he was the guitar player for Jerry Jeff Walker. He wrote a song that Confederate Railroad, the country band Confederate Railroad, picked up back in the day called Trashy Women. The Dolly Parton wig, and that's the kind of women I dig. And Chris Waugh, had the pleasure of meeting him a few times. A good friend of mine who we lost, Dwayne Jarvis, on Watermelon Record. This guy, fantastic. I miss this guy as a friend. I missed him as an artist. Dwayne Jarvis. Alison Krauss, a wonderful Americana artist. We all know Alison Krauss, though. Guys, I'm also going to show a few more here, just for the heck of it. Sun Volt. Uncle Tupelo split into 2 bands, Wilco and Sun Volt. Some more Steve Earle. The late Guy Clark. Own this record, guys. Go out and find this record. Jerry Jeff Walker. It's live at Lukenbach. Moortown's Van Zandt. Robert Earl Keen Jr., great Americana artist. Sam St. John came up with this Americana tag. I'm glad he did. Thank you, Sam, for writing down these questions, putting them on tape. So is this considered tape, YouTube? Putting them on the internet, putting them on a stream like this. Fantastic. Please jump on it. Peace.